welcome everybody. Of course, it wouldn't be for me just off the cuff, but I was just thinking, I was looking at all the things that are up on the wall here, and that's so pretty. But I remember with Dad one time, he was saying that must be one giant nail that's holding up that big metal picture up there. But, so anyway, so good morning, and I'm Tom, as the Monsignor said, Tom Gieselman, Walter's oldest son. Our mother, Tori, and our 6 children, Tom, Mary, Annie, John, Billy, Andy, and all our spouses, along with the 10 grandchildren. I want to thank you all for being here, and we love you. Thank you. Really to pray and remember our beloved husband, father, and Papa, Walter. So, I'd like to start out with two quick readings. Book of Genesis 1:27. On the 6th day, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. Then John 10:30, Jesus said, I and the Father are one. So, listening to those 2 verses being said, God created man in his own image. Let's imagine what the perfect Jesus or Father would look like. So, let's start. He was a Navy man, I'm thinking. Perfect Jesus, right? Then he always drove a Chevrolet. He smoked AC Grenadier cigars. We always sat in the back of the car. We knew that. He loved scotch. He quit drinking when enough was enough. He married the most beautiful, smart girl. Every day he would say to one of us children, your mom is a saint. Of course, Jesus always got the best girl too, right? So he loves to sail, golf, play baseball, watch sports. He's an artist. He loves dogs. Huge sports fan. He goes to many games with his family. He roots for Michigan State, Eastern Michigan, Indiana, CMU, Western Michigan, Oklahoma, and Texas. But Jesus doesn't root for you now. More importantly, Jesus loved his Father with all his heart. That he's the creator and ultimately gave up everything in his life for all others. How about that? In our eyes, hearts, and minds, our dad, Walter, truly was created in the image of Jesus. And not how he looked, but how he lived his life, a true believer. Selfless, always present, patient, and giving everything he had for others. Dad always told us it's simple. Believe in God, say your prayers, and your sins will be forgiven. Every day. It is the most important thing in life. We are blessed to be here for a short time compared to eternity in heaven. Walter lived a simple life, and it's not an accident. The 6 of us children all met faithful spouses and partners. We have raised our kids in Dad's simple message being the most important thing in mind. Thank you, Dad. Last week, as I was talking to Dad alone, we were talking about his faith and how grateful I was that he passed it on to all of us. I asked him if he was ready to die. He immediately responded, yes, I'm ready. He says, I'm not afraid because I know what's next, but I really don't want to go now. so I said, this kind of reminds me of my favorite Kenny Chesney song, Everybody Wants to Go to Heaven, but I don't want to go now. And he agreed. But he has passed and he's with the Lord now. So some of his favorite traits that we love about Dad is I think about him is, and we all do, is love. When you think of Dad, you always think of Mom and his love for her. They're the best example of what a marriage is all about, complementing each other and their strengths and weaknesses to be the ultimate team raising our family. All his Chevrolet peers and all his buddies that he came to church in OPC and they said his strongest traits are his honesty, his ethics, and he truly loved Chevrolet. He truly loved his coworkers, and his word was his bond. Selflessness. Dad was the most selfless person. Everything he did was for his family, with his family, to support his family. he had a lot of loves in his life, but you know, he just always, his love was his family, his faith, and his friends. He never missed our games, events. You know, a lot of us, you know, we remember, we always looked in the stands. He was always there for us, and he passed it on to us. He was omnipresent. He was always there for us. We just knew we could call him at any time. If we were in a bind, no scolding, no encouraging. He was always encouraging and supportive. He had genuine care for his neighbors too. I mean, all the neighbors have reached out, and the stories about what he did for them, all their friends and family. He was a teacher. Some of his wisdom. You know, God doesn't always give you what you want, but He always gives you what you need. Reminded us that. As I golfed, he always said, "You can't breathe yesterday's air after a 3-putt." He says, "Put the bad shots behind you, forget all about them, and learn and adjust." And you know, it's great advice. He taught us how to sail. He loved to sail. He said how to read the wind. It's always there like God was. He says, you know, it can go in all directions, but at the end, it leads us and it will take us home. Going into the wind, the challenging headwinds of life was like tacking, turning, and it is about life. Then going down into the finish. He would say, just enjoy the wind because it'll bring you home. How to be the best support system. He would have faith, humor, long-term judgment, no long-term judgment, grudges, when we needed it. And he was a creator. And we created our family. He was a patriarch, and he loved to paint, which we all saw the art at the home yesterday. We're so lucky. So, Dad's love for his mother. You know, he also called our mom mother. I'm still not sure she liked that. I'm sure, you know, twinkle in her eye. But Dad's strong devotion to Mary and his daily prayers to intercede for favor with her son, you know, was so special and with God. And Mary was deep in his heart. You know, he would go with his buddies and see Mr. Reading back there and Dr. Reading, and they went down to Kentucky one time where the Blessed Mother began appearing in 1991, and he was visiting there, and a lady tripped into Dad and told him that because of his devotion to Mother Mary, it's just somebody they didn't even know, you know, said that because of his devotion to Mother Mary, she said that she knew that he was carrying her prayer card, Mary's prayer card next to his heart. Because of Dad's faith, Mary told the lady that Dad's heart problems were all healed. He lived 35 years after a triple bypass and all of the blockages. So doctors couldn't believe it. So you know, that's a lot of faith, and we know that's what was central in our life. So he loved his children. Always bragged about his grandchildren. We're all, you know, all here, love them so much. And he was the best support system in the world. He was an example and model of faith. Mom and Dad always went to weekly mass, made it a part of our routine. I picture Dad praying silently after communion. We all do that. A great example of devotion. So to close, every night, Dad would say to one of us, as all of us, and each one of us, when he kissed us goodnight, he would say, whisper in our ear, he'd say, "Good night," say the prayers. God bless Tommy, Mary, Annie, John, Billy, Andy,